Support WrestleTalk!
Give us a subscribe. Thank you for your support on Patreon, WrestleTalk's personal ring announcer, Rodrigo Benitez. Sami Zayn just referenced AEW on Raw. Ain't no party like a Brock Lesnar party. And dear God, it's actually happening. Seth Rollins will be taking on Baron Corbin at Super Arabia. And more WWE stars are potentially quitting the company. Click the timestamps in the video description below to go straight to any of those stories right now. I'm Ollie Davis. Give us a subscribe, press the thumbs up button, and answer our question of the day in the comments. How should WWE react to AEW? Because I'll be replying to people from out of nowhere. And click the eye above my head to give your rating of the show, where you can choose from Rawsome, Core, Average, Poor, and Rawful, as I review the 27th of May 2019 edition of Monday Night Raw. Just 2 nights after All Elite Wrestling's debut show, the biggest challenge to WWE's supremacy in almost 2 decades, Raw had to step up and answer the challenge, which they did by not having a proper wrestling match until an hour and a half in the show. That'll teach him. After a recap of Dolph Ziggler attacking Kofi last Tuesday, Kingston challenged Brock Lesnar to cash in the beefcase on him. Seth answered instead, meaning we've got the WWE champion out here. We've got the Universal champion out here. That can only mean one thing: a disappointing swerve tag match with the Bar. Surprisingly, Brock actually showed up for work for an unprecedented 3rd time in 8 days, revealing his new customized Money in the Bank boombox, which actually plays music, which Brock Lesnar is actually dancing along to while wearing a shirt that says Brock Party. Lesnar, I take back everything bad I've ever said about you. Just when all was set for a dance-off to decide who Brock cashes in on, sports entertainment! Seth walked off in disgust, so Lesnar postponed his announcement yet again. Cue Ziggler brawling with Kingston and Xavier Woods for the next 40 minutes. This angle went on far too long, with Xavier saving Kofi, then Kofi saving Xavier, then Ziggler cutting a promo. It should have been a match by now, which all ultimately didn't play into the rest of the show. Speaking of segments that went nowhere, Raw then cut back to the Usos block party going on backstage. The second block party gimmick of the night, because when WWE do something, they either drop it immediately or do it to death, by God. The skits included a brief tense stare down between Naomi and her former welcoming committee foe, Tamina, before they hugged and made up, but I thought there was no one meaner than Tamina. And then the Revival showed up to capitalize on the momentum of their fantastic TV match last week by trying to squash their tag team beef by playing party games. The lame payoff, in inverted commas, was R-Truth turning up for a bunch of people trying to win his 24/7 title off him. Then a mere hour into the show, we got our first wrestling match, and it was one involving Shane McMahon. The Omni-Shane. After weirdly coming out once with Drew McIntyre, exiting Lacey Evans' style and then coming back out again because heel heat, I guess, Shane brought out Reigns' cousin, Lance Anoa'i, whom Drew beat up before the bell for Shane to tap him out in a triangle. McMahon then proceeded to beat up Lance before Roman himself ran down for the save, a full 5 minutes after they first started beating him up. What a hero. Then we got another in-ring promo, yay! But this one seems important. It's where Brock Lesnar will finally announce which champion he's going to cash in on. They've even got a referee out there. But then Lesnar realized he's got a full year to cash in the briefcase when Heyman read through the contract, so he just walked off. It was a funny execution, but after dragging this out for the whole first half of this show and last week's episode 2, it got the wrong kind of heat. The kind of heat that gets directed at WWE management for not being able to write good TV. But don't be annoyed by any of that, because here's the zany 24/7 title, which just a week into its existence has already become a crutch for WWE not knowing how to end segments properly. AJ Styles revealed he's suffering from a back injury next when Baron Corbin ran in and punched him in the face, not the back. PW Insider have reported this segment was actually taped in advance, as AJ wasn't at Raw and is genuinely banged up. Then a mere 1 hour 40 minutes into the show, we got our first proper match, with Becky Lynch and Nikki Cross, sans Alexa Bliss storyline, beating the Iconics. Becky debuted her new finisher, the Manhandle Slam, for the win, which is just a bad-looking rock bottom. Lacey Evans then walked out on the ramp and then left again. I have not missed that gimmick. Thankfully, Ricochet beating Cesaro was easily the match of the the night, with Cesaro the perfect base for Ricochet's incredibly impressive flippy moves, and unlike last week, Raw didn't have an ad break every other move. Unfortunately, the result is just 50-50 booking, flattening out both men when they need to be built up. Rey Mysterio's US title announcement was bumped to next week's show without explanation. Then we got a 4-way elimination match between Baron Corbin, The Miz, Bobby Lashley, and Braun Strowman, who I'm pretty sure have all been in the mid-card of Evil at one point or another in the last year, to decide Seth's Universal Championship match at Super Arabia. It actually turned out to be a fatal 4-way match, as Strowman and Lashley brawled out of the arena, apparently eliminating them in inverted commas, despite it being no DQ, and Corbin pinning Miz after an end of days. Because not even all the money in Saudi Arabia can escape
the pull of Baron Corbin's mid-card vortex!
Bray Wyatt's Firefly Funhouse remains the most consistently excellent thing in WWE. Here Bray named the new form he unveiled last week, The Fiend, and said he's here to protect us. But the real intrigue was in how this newly fiend-confident Bray treated Sister Abigail, who had previously been a bully. Instead, this time she called Wyatt a sicko and begged him to let her rest as she's just so tired. Their relationship suddenly flipped from Abigail controlling and tormenting Bray to it being the other way around all along. She's stuck in the purgatory of limbo, which segued into a creepy crab walk limbo party. Much better than an Usos party. As Mick Foley promised us last week, the third hour of Raw is going to be dirty, it's going to be nasty, and it's going to be slightly underlit in the crowd. As part of this new third hour direction, Corey Graves debuted his electric chair segment, a Q&A session with members of the audience and a WWE star sitting in a mock electric chair. Kind of like a corporal punishment interrogation segment just 10 days before they go to Saudi Arabia. I can't see anything potentially backfiring about this segment, especially when your debut guest is Sami Zayn, the man reportedly not allowed on the Saudi shows because of his Syrian descent. Sami eventually took the mic, shouted at the crowd for not asking him better questions, because they weren't asking him good questions, and then said they could even ask him about AEW. Considering how WWE refused to mention the initials TNA even long after it had ceased to be even a tiny threat, it's odd how they brought up AEW just 2 nights after the new promotion's very well received debut show. It wasn't even a negative slight, and will probably just act as free advertising. There was little time to react to the AEW name drop though, as Seth Rollins came out, trashed the electric chair, and started a match with Zayn. They had a very good bout, as you would expect from these two, built around Rollins selling his knee yet again. I just wish Sami was a credible threat, as he's been beaten in pretty much every match since his return. Seth won in the end, but despite selling his knee, there was no lurking Brock Lesnar to be seen. Ha ha, screw you for staying around until the end. This was a pretty bad episode of Raw, with a particularly lame and lackluster opening hour, and while Rollins vs Zayn and Cesaro vs Ricochet were enjoyable, the in-ring segments were massively overkilled in this show. A baffling decision after Double or Nothing's excellent in-ring wrestling on Saturday. This week's Raw is poor. And now over to Luke with the news and how WWE might have cut that AEW reference.
Great review, Ollie. I myself am also a gentle lover. As announced on Raw, AJ Styles was set to compete in a fatal 4-way for the #1 contendership to Seth Rollins' Universal Championship, which was won by Baron Corbin. It's all your fault, Baron Corbin. Dave Meltzer had originally reported that Styles was set to take some time off after WrestleMania, a report which Styles himself denied. And now Mike Johnson has confirmed with his WWE sources that Styles is indeed injured, but doesn't know the nature of the injury. Instead, Johnson is reporting that Styles is simply banged up, with no time frame on when he'll return to the ring. The only other notable thing from Raw came during Corey Graves' newest talk show segment, The Electric Chair, during which Zayn dropped WWE's latest competition, All Elite Wrestling. It's been reported that the fans in the segment were real, but the questions were screened ahead of time. Dave Meltzer has since claimed on Wrestling Observer Radio that the AEW line was scripted and signed off by Vince McMahon, but one writer called it so ruddy stupid, and said it was done to show that WWE can say the name and they're not afraid to say those letters. On the same show, conversely, Brian Alvarez reported that it was not scripted, but speculates that WWE are telling reporters that it wasn't scripted as a way to work the dirt sheets as well as the wrestlers in the locker room. What we do know is that WWE have edited the line off the YouTube version of the segment, instead jumping straight to Zayn saying he can win the Universal Championship whenever he wants. And AEW Executive Vice Presidents Matt and Nick Jackson of the Young Bucks have now responded on Twitter, with Matt sharing a video of the Bucks doing an El Generico move at Double or Nothing, even though Sami Zayn and El Generico are totally different people, of course. And Nick posted a screen grab of a Being the Elite episode from a couple of years ago, which featured cameos from Zayn and Kevin Owens. Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens to AEW confirmed. Wait, that's not Sami Zayn. Someone else who might be AEW confirmed, a Mike and Maria Kanellis. Back in January, it was reported by both Pro Wrestling Sheet and Fightful that the Kanellis had requested their release from the company, rumors which were denied by Maria Kanellis on Instagram. However, she's now added more fuel to this rumor fire by recently posting on Twitter, "Contracts are up in 3 weeks, just saying." While she did make a joke about this when responding to a fan, Mike Johnson of PW Insider is reporting that the Kanellis' contracts do expire in June 2019, which would be 2 years after their debut at Money in the Bank 2017. The greatest love I've ever known to AEW confirmed. But someone who likely won't be joining All Elite Wrestling, however, is Joey Ryan. Despite being a regular character on Being the Elite, Ryan hasn't signed with AEW and did not appear at Double or Nothing on Saturday. It had been reported a couple of weeks ago that WWE approached Ryan about signing for NXT, where he would wrestle for a couple of years before transitioning into a trainer's role. Ryan reportedly turned that offer down as he would have to take a massive pay cut from what he makes on the independent circuit to join NXT. And now SoCal Uncensored, which is also a wrestling website and not just an AEW stable, are reporting that Ryan will announce this Thursday at Bar Wrestling's Pickle Jar Hero that he's also turned down an offer from All Elite Wrestling. SoCal Uncensored reached out to Ryan for comments, who told them everything will be answered Thursday. Thank you for watching, and a special thank you to our Patreon pledge hammers, some of which you can see scrolling their way into my stomach. What's the latest on the DLC for Red Dead Redemption 2? And what are the AEW plans for Jon Moxley? Click the videos over there to find out more. I've been Luke Owen, and that's War Wrestling.